Hi everyone. I am currently in Texas, USA, after a long flight but feeling very fresh. This is a roundup and a recap of what happened with Praggnanandhaa at the Grand Chess Tour finals. He's playing there in Sao Paolo, Brazil, and some amazing games have taken place. He was playing a match against MVL. We did cover the first round and then a first classical game, and then there was a second classical game, and on day 3 we had the, it's not tie breaks, but it's basically rapid and blitz. So each section has points, and then those points are accumulated to see who comes out on top. So just so that this is how the point system works. In the finals, players will play matches consisting of 2 classical games, 2 rapid games, and 4 blitz games. 6 points for a win in classical, 3 points for a draw, and 0 for a loss. And in rapid games, 4 points for a win, 2 for a draw, while in blitz, 2 points for a win and 1 point for a draw. We have some very nice pictures there, and look at this, very intense. Some great pictures by Eric Rosen, who was present there. What a beautiful shot there. Pragg and also Fabiano Caruana was playing against Levon Aronian in the other semifinals. So what happened in Pragg's semifinals against MVL? Let's go through all the games and look at the critical moments. I really enjoyed going through them. Also shows how difficult it is at this top level playing against guys like MVL to sort of be able to come out on top. So let's first begin with the first game, that is uh, the second classical game that they played. I really liked how Praggnanandhaa dealt with this. Let me just mute the tab. Yes, I really liked how he dealt with this opening. I think this idea with Queen f5 was very nice because white has the ideas of playing bishop c4 and quickly developing, but queen f5 just kind of equalizes the play. And I think Pragg was very well prepared. You can see he had 131 at this point, and of course taking this pawn would be catastrophe because of f3 hanging. So rook a e1, castles, and at this point the players agreed to a draw with a repetition, which means that the classical section ended with an equal score. Both players had 2 draws, right? And then we moved to the rapid section. So in the rapid section, MVL had the white pieces in game 1, and what a game this was. I mean, this game just showed the how MVL is such a strong player. uh, it was the Karo Khan advanced variation, and look at this. I'm not going to go too deeply into the analysis of this game. What I really loved is that, I mean, Pragg played this typical queen exchange idea where you spoil your structure a bit, but it's supposed to be okay. But look at how MVL plays now. Bishop b2, rook c1, knight f4, bringing the knight from d3 to c5, and then doubling the rooks here. Just absolutely incredible play. And I mean, this endgame is worthy of studying deeply, but Pragg had no chance. And you can see that this pawn is a dark square pawn. It will become a weakness as it always does in these endgames. Takes, now rerouting the bishop perhaps to come from this side. And while the material remained equal, it was clear that white was always dominating. Now planning to come from the other side, so you had to give up a pawn. And now the king can just come in and winning. So MVL had taken a lead. As you know, rapid game has 4 points for a win. So Pragg needed to strike back in the next immediate rapid game. Would not be easy because he had the white pieces. he had to try, and you will see that Pragg played the Queen's Gambit, declined this Carlsbad structure, and very interesting this the way in which this game developed. I think from an opening perspective, Pragg did get something. A4, a5 was played, and now he started pushing his f pawn, and there came a critical moment here where MVL went wrong with the move knight bd7. And I think it was very important for Pragg to use his 16 minutes well here. He played queen c3 after 7 minutes, so he did realize this was a key moment. But at this point, he had to sort of slow down and try to think what are the possibilities. And in fact, there was this very nice move, slightly difficult to find, bishop c4. The idea, of course, is right now to go knight g5, attacking the queen and attacking f7. But it's quite subtle, in a way. Like knight takes c5, d takes c5, knight e4, rook e4. It's kind of equal after queen takes c5, but you take with the queen. And now after queen takes c5, king h1, f6 is very powerful. And if you decide to play like queen f6 here to block, then there is queen e7 and white is getting in. So this bishop c4, I mean, there are other lines as well. Like for example, if you do knight e4, I have rook e4 followed by f6 coming in. Also, these knight e6 sacrifices are very, very dangerous. But to queen c3, it feels like it still has the same punch, but just that something is missing here, because Pragg did take and play f6. But now look at the defense. MVL finds a series of only moves. He goes rook e8, great move. Rook h4 by Pragg. Now only move rook e6, finds it once again. I mean, if you do anything else, for example, you go bishop e6, trying to put the bishop on d5 square, it's just over. Queen d2, attacking here. If bishop d5, just rook h6 is over. It's a mating attack. So rook e6, attacking the f6 pawn, you take. Rook f6, another beautiful move. And now queen b4, and he was able to draw the game here. So Pragg was unable to strike with white to equalize the scores. So MVL had now a 4-point lead. We move on to the Blitz games, and there every win has 2 points. So the first Blitz game, MVL was playing with the white pieces. It was a Sicilian Sveshnikov, and I think Praggnanandhaa managed to get a pretty decent position. In fact, the most key moment of this game came towards the end, where both players had chances to win the game. And here Pragg, I mean, he's given up this e-pawn to get counterplay on the e4 and c4 squares. MVL wasn't taking it quickly as yet, but then the game sharpened when both players were down to like last few seconds. As you can see, they are down to their last few seconds. Takes, rook e7, bishop c8. This is still equal, but now the attack begins on the g7 point. Pragg goes rook c4, rook g7. White is now winning. b4, and now MVL had to find this beautiful move, rook g6. It's slightly tough to find this, because not only are you threatening the knight, but more importantly, after b3, if you take the knight, I have check and b2, b1, but knight f6 is a forced mate here. So this was, I think, missed by MVL with like 5 seconds or so on the clock. He went rook a7, and now Pragg was winning if he found the move b3. And the key point here, of course, is that if knight f6, you have bishop b7 blocking the rook, and is completely winning. But Pragg, because the thing is about b3, you have b2 and rook c1 and b1 coming so quickly, there's nothing that white can do about it. Pragg went king g8 and tried to run, but MVL was just in time to give this perpetual, and the game ended in a draw, keeping his 4-point lead in the match. We move on to the second Blitz game. This time Pragg was white, and I loved Pragg's opening choice, because he went e3 and c5. he took. And this is very interesting line which you can play with a win with the white pieces, because b4 a5 c3, you get back, it's actually reversed variation, and it, when white plays it, white gets a very good position. Just so that you know what I'm talking about, it's basically d4 d5 c4 dc, and knight f3, knight, so like c6 e3 b5 a4, and basically um, something like this, take b3, and this is supposed to give white a very good position. But when you reverse it, and when black is playing it, it leads to equal position but with a fighting game. Now you will see that here c6 is met with bishop b4, but white gets these passers, and it's very very complicated. In fact, one of the main moves here is g5 with the idea of g4, which is very interesting to see if such a thing can be played. But goes queen b8, and I loved how Pragg played this game, by the way. Queen c2, bishop c3, rook b1. He's planning to push his pawns down the board now. So knight e4, takes, knight d4, and gives up the h2 pawn. It's not so important. Takes, bishop takes, rook a2, and yeah, before you know it, it's just over here. So this one was a very smooth win for Pragg. So he had pulled 2 points back. Now he was only having a 2 point deficit with two more Blitz games to go. If he managed to do well in the remaining two, he could reach the finals. Um, but this game was a huge blow to Pragg's chances. And in fact, it was the Sicilian Rosolimo. Pragg generally goes g6, but today he decided to play e6, and we reached this position. I think Pragg got a beautiful position out of the opening. Somehow cd4 was a big mistake. You know, he had to play d3 or something else, because now look at black's control on the dark squares. But and now f2 under pressure. I think MVL misassessed the position, now tried his best to play something very creative with rook e3, and Pragg just castled b6, takes the rook, he's exchange up, bishop d6, plays queen g3, also finds this beautiful tactic by winning this d6 pawn. And now, even though he lost the f7 pawn, it's all okay. The back rank is safe. Takes, he's completely winning. In fact, here the winning line, just rook f8, and Pragg would have finished off the game like queen e6, takes, check, king e1, rook f8, and it's a forced mate here. So Pragg would have then equalized the score with the last Blitz game, but yeah, it was unfortunate how things panned out here. In fact, MVL is still worse. He's exchange down. You have to take on e3, and Pragg is having great chances here, but instead he goes passive. And now look at MVL. He first defends the pawn, then activates his knight, then wins the e6 pawn. With just seconds on the clock, white was the one who started pushing the pawns, and Pragg just couldn't control anything here. These pawns became too strong. Look at these pawns. And he won here. MVL won, which means he regained his 4 point lead. And with this, he had already won the match with 1 round to spare. As you can see here, this was the scorecard with one more Blitz game to go, but the gap was already too big. Meanwhile, Caruana had won against Aronian, and he managed to draw the last Blitz game. So Caruana moved into the finals, so did MVL. And yeah, you can see Pragg. This was a very nice shot that showed Pragg's kind of look there. That okay, come on, I should have won that one. Yeah, it was unfortunate for Pragg losing that one, but it happens. It happens to the best in the business. And the last Blitz game, just let's go over that one. I think already there was nothing much to play for. So Pragg got a good position here as well. But in the end, MVL once again showed that he is really strong when it comes to Blitz. White is better. White is doing very well here. Black gets counterplay, trades. It's around even here. You have to go G4, but already he gave this up, and now actually it's Black who's playing for a win. The game, it was possible to hold here with the move like King C4, but Knight A4 was a mistake. BD7 came in and then check, and he lost the pawn. And with this, Pragg lost another game, and MVL beat him to move into the finals to take on Caruana. Pragg will now take on Aronian for the third place fight, but it just goes to show how close things are when these two top players face off against each other. It's always a matter of like one move here or there. Too bad that Pragg couldn't make it to the finals of the Grand Chess Tour and win, so that he could win this year. But he's already played really well, and hopefully he will get the third place. But beating Levon Aronian will not be easy. The format will be same, two classical games and then Rapid and Blitz on day 3. I'll bring you all the action. For now, this is Sagar Shah signing off from Texas in USA. Bye bye.